Hello and Testelek. This is the last chapter of your syllabus, that is Indian politics, trends and developments. The earlier name of this chapter was Recent Developments in Indian Politics. In this clip, I'll just introduce you to the contents of the chapter and will also give a brief introduction to the chapter. Alright, so basically this chapter is about the coalition governments at the central government since 1989. Alright, in this chapter we need to cover the National Front government as well as the United Front government, which was similar to National Front as both the governments included Janata Dal and several regional parties. We then need to do the United Progressive Alliance or UPA 1 and 2, led by the Congress, and the National Democratic Alliance or the NDA, the first NDA, second NDA, third NDA and the fourth NDA governments led by BJP. Finally, there is also the issues of development and governance that we need to cover in this chapter. Now, this is a slide on the multi-party coalition system, which we had already completed when we did the chapter Parties and the Party Systems in India. I'm sure you remember that. This is exactly the same slide, so it's a kind of revision for you. All right. If you look in the table, the first coalition government was in 1977. Although the first coalition government to form at the national level was in 1977 by the Janata Party, however, the 9th general election, that is 1989, is generally considered to be the beginning of the era of coalitions in India. So when you talk about the coalition system in the Indian government, 1989 and not 1977, okay, is generally considered to be the beginning of the coalition system in India. Because number one, if you look in this chart, you can see that the 1977 government couldn't complete the term. All right. And number two, Congress came back to power after that. So the loss of Congress in the election of the 1989, it marked the end of what political scientists have called the Congress system. And there was also emergence of several parties in such a way that one or two parties did not get most of the votes or seats. This also meant that no single party secured a clear majority of seats in any Lok Sabha election held since 1989 till 2014. You can see that from 1989 it's all coalition governments. All right. So thus, with the election of 1989, a long phase of coalition politics began in India. Since then, there have been 11 governments at the center, all of which have been either coalition governments or minority governments supported by other parties which did not join the government. So political context changed and era of multi-party system or coalition era began at the center, in which regional parties they played a crucial role in forming the ruling alliances. So let's have a look at the era of coalitions. The chart at your right hand side has been taken from your textbook, so it's easily available in your textbook. And the left part is the one which we have been doing since the chapter Parties and the Party Systems in India. All right, so from there I've just taken the central government since 1989 because that's when the era of coalitions started. The whole chapter is based on this chart, so it's very important that you by heart all the governments formed at different Lok Sabhas. All right, so we'll just have a very quick look at the central government since 1989. So if you look in the chart, you can clearly see that with Congress defeat in 1989 election, no other political party obtained majority. Okay, although the Congress was the largest party in the Lok Sabha, but then Congress decided to sit in the opposition. So National Front formed the government with the help of the leftist party and the BJP. Now, National Front itself was an alliance of Janata Dal and some other regional parties. Okay, and as I said, it was supported by BJP, which was a conservative party, and leftist communist, and those were two completely opposite political groups. But then they helped the National Front government so as to keep the Congress out of power. All right, so that's the National Front government formed a coalition government, but then the BJP and the Left Front, they did not join the government as such. They just supported from outside. All right, so the National Front government under VP Singh was formed, but then, with the withdrawal of the BJP's support, the Samajwadi Janata Party formed the government supported by Congress under the prime ministership of Chandrasekhar. All right, and then in 1991, Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. He was assassinated in May 1991 by the LTTA group when he was on an election campaign tour in Tamil Nadu. We've already done that in our earlier chapters, so I'm sure you remember that. So, in the election of 1991, Congress emerged as the single largest party. Congress, supported by the AIADMK and some smaller parties, formed the government, and Narasimha Rao became the prime minister. Okay, and so this was the first time a coalition government was able to rule for a whole term of 5 years. And then in the 1996 general elections, although BJP was the single largest political party, however, it did not receive any support from other political parties to form the government. So you can see that since it didn't receive any support from any other political party, within just 16 days, it had to step down, making it the shortest government. So, in place of BJP, United Front, with the support of Congress, formed the government. Now, as I told you earlier, United Front was similar to a National Front government of 1989. Both the governments included Janata Dal and several regional parties. All right, but this time it was supported by Congress and left so as to keep BJP out of power. Now, if you look in the chart closely, you will see that the National Front government was supported by the BJP and the left to keep Congress out of power. But then this time, United Front is supported by Congress and the same leftists to keep BJP out of power. So it clearly shows that ideology really doesn't matter. You can also see a change in the prime minister during this rule. It is said that H.D. Devi Gowda had some issues with Congress, because of which the United Front, in order to retain the support of Congress, had to change the leader, and I.K. Gujral was made the prime minister in the place of H.D. Devi Gowda. All right. Now, if you again look closely, you will notice that the NDA government, which was led by the BJP under the Prime Minister A.B. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, completed full term, and from then on, settled coalition government began. Okay, so since 1999 elections, India has been experiencing settled coalition governments. Otherwise, although the coalition era started from 1989, you will see that with the exception to Congress-led coalition government in 1999, all the other coalition governments haven't completed their full term. So it is after 1999 that we have been seeing coalition governments completing their full term. All right. Now, since 2014, the NDA led by BJP under the Prime Ministership of Narendra Modi has won the elections, and it is India's first non-Congress single-party majority government. Modi is also India's longest serving non-Congress Prime Minister. Alright, so this is the gist of the chapter. In my next video, I'll be covering the National Front and the United Front government. So see you all in my next video. Take care and bye-bye.